Hello, welcome to Poppin Predictions, where we believe movies aren't over at the end, but are meant to be continued. We're here with Andy and Marqueze, where we ponder what happens in the story once the credits begin to roll. On today's episode, we'll be reviewing the movie Zack Snyder's Justice League. The director's cut, also known as the Snyder Cut, of the 2017 American superhero film Justice League, is as director Zack Snyder intended it to be before he left production. Like the theatrical release, Zack Snyder's Justice League follows Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, and The Flash as they attempt to save the world from Darkseid, Steppenwolf, and their army of parademons. This movie is rated R for violence and some language. You could find this movie on HBO Max if you really want to dive in deep into this. But as always, spoilers ahead. So Marqueze, why don't you try to save the day and tell us what this movie's about?
So this movie follows the Justice League. As you've probably seen it if you've watched the 2017 American film, superhero film. So it's like the Avengers, but DC's version. And because it's DC's version,
it's like the budget version.
As you can guess, it's not as good. The DC universe is known for not being incredibly great, or not making great films, at least, put it that way. Whereas on the Marvel side, it's just, blockbuster hit after blockbuster hit after blockbuster hit. And people were not happy really with the 2017 version of this film, which we just thought was the normal version of this film. But apparently what happened was that the director, Zack Snyder, had to leave in post-production because of an issue. I think his daughter had died, I believe, or something of that sort.
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Yeah, I believe that was it. And so he had to leave, and they replaced him with Joss Whedon, who then came in and made a lot of changes to the movie. Like, he did a lot of reshoots, and just little changes that ended up making a pretty big difference in the end. And one that is that this movie is, or the original version of this film is much more comical, kind of like a Marvel film, instead of this 2021 Zack Snyder version, which has a much darker tone to it. But yeah, so in general, this follows the same storyline, though, as the original one, where, as you mentioned, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, and The Flash all try to save the world from Steppenwolf and his army of parademons. And so, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a classic superhero film plot line. There's nothing incredibly special to the plot line, but more so, we're just kind of curious of how this movie differs from its original version. And so that being said, we also have a guest on today's podcast.
As you can tell by the title.
Our guest today is Schae. Schae, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
So, Schae, do you want to tell us what you thought of this film?
I liked it a lot more than the theatrical version. I'm not going to lie. I sat through all 4 hours and I was completely into every second of it.
Yeah.
And I think the difference with this, even though it felt very dark, it had more heart than the
Very true.
Right? It felt like they were trying to force relationships in the first one and add in, like, the comical bits, as you said, to make it more Marvel-esque. That's not why. We're not coming to see to enjoy it and feel good at the end of it. We want to feel conflicted. We want to feel the darkness. We want to feel sadness, right? So give that to me, and this gave it to me,
doesn't DC stand for Dark Comics? No.
They don't. I'm saying this is an opportunity, right? But yeah, I really did enjoy it a lot more, and I felt like I understood what was happening, because I am a Marvel fan, but I understand a lot more about like that universe, and how they have set it up over the years makes it really easy for you to like slip in at any point and not feel as confused. But with DC, if you're not really familiar with it, it's hard to understand what's happening.
Right.
And with the theatrical version, I was so lost, and I had some understanding of the DC universe, but I was just like, this does not make any sense. Am I missing something? Am I stupid? I know they had a lot more time to explain things, and I'm like, yes. Feed it to me like I'm an infant. Feed it to me like I'm 5. So I really didn't.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't me trying to call you out or anything, because I am also like you, very much a Marvel fan, not much of a DC fan, at least when it comes to movies. How, like, for me, I have not, because of DC's reputation for making movies, or attempting to make movies, I'll say that, like, I have not seen many of the DC movies. So I'm curious, like, and when I watched this Justice League, like, I was fortunate, like, it even though I didn't have a lot of like the outside context from the other movies, like, it still made relative sense. Did you, like, what I'm guessing, like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, what is like your background with DC movies? Like, did you see any of the ones that also came out, or did you go into it fresh too?
The thing is, I don't really like Superman, and a big part.
Hot take.
On five, right? I'm here for Wonder Woman. I'm Wonder Woman, right? So I've seen some. I did see Man of Steel, but I think I lost interest after that. I saw the original Justice League, and there was one other. I saw Aquaman as well. So that's my context.
That's fair.
I never saw Aquaman. It looked really horrible.
It was all right.
Okay. That's better than I thought.
Yeah. I have not seen, the only one in this universe that I have seen is both Wonder Womans. Yeah. I have not seen Man of Steel. I did not see Batman v Superman. Like, I didn't see Aquaman. Just because, like, I was just like everyone, like we just said, like, it just didn't look good. And, like, I mean, we all try to forget about the Green Lantern, but, like, it still existed. It still happened, and kind of ruined DC for me. I
think what ruined DC for me was Watchmen.
That's fair.
That was my first introduction into it, and I'm just like, what is this?
Just we're not a fan, just straight off the top.
I'm with them, because this is not it.
Yeah. I think what this movie does really well, like, what's funny is that I only saw this cut, so I didn't see the original cut, but from what I hear, like, the way that you described the original cut was, like, basically everyone else's impressions. So when I watched the Zack Snyder's cut, and, like, I remember Marqueze was like, yo, we gotta watch this movie. I'm like, okay, cool, how long is it? He goes, 4 hours. I'm like, really? We're gonna sit and watch this movie for 4 hours? We watched, the first time when we watched it together, Marquise, like, we did, like, 2 hour increments, and, like, it was fine. But then last night, I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna watch all 4 hours at once. And I honestly think that both ways are fine, but I think you do a disservice to yourself if you don't watch it all at once, just because, like, it feels like a long time, but it's really actually not too bad once you're into it.
It's like, really building a story, you know?
Yeah. I heard that they were trying to, like, make this into, like, a mini series. There was an idea. I don't want to say that they were, but there was an idea that they were going to make this into, like, a mini series instead of a movie. And as I was watching it the second time, I was like, you know what? Like, I could actually see this being a pretty successful mini series because of, like, how they're, like, telling everybody's stories arc, and, like, how, like, the stories are all coming together. But again, like, I think even though it's 4 hours long, I think it did really well. There were small things throughout the movie that I was just like, this isn't good. Like, like Wonder Woman. Like, I love Wonder Woman.
Wait, I want this hot take. I'm so excited. Please, Andy, let's do this. Let's do this.
Don't get me wrong. Love Wonder Woman. Love Gal Gadot. She is awesome. My criticism comes with the production side of it. It really made me mad when every time Wonder Woman does something really cool, this, like, really obnoxious Amazonian music. I was like, I'm just like, stop! Like, you're taking me out. Like, they, like, do it in slow-mo, and they play this obnoxious music, and I'm just like, you're taking me out of this film. Like,
as we were watching the movie, Andy, like, every time that happened, Andy would be like, oh my god, is this really happening?
Like, Wonder Woman, like, every Wonder Woman scene is basically, like, Zack Snyder's, like, updated 300 film. Like, because, like, that's really when I saw glimpses of 300 in this film, was whenever Wonder Woman was doing her thing. And I'm just like, leave 300 alone. Like 300's its own separate thing. Justice League's its own separate project. Like that was really my biggest criticism. The epilogue too, like it just felt like the third Lord of the Rings movie where like once you got to the end, you're like, okay, cool, I got a conclusion. And then there'd be another scene, and you're like, okay, cool, so this is the end. And then there'd be another scene, you're like, okay, cool, no, this is the end. And then there'd be another scene from the epilogue. I'm like, okay, come on, like, I just sat through 3.5 hours. Like, I don't need a 30-minute epilogue here. That's where Marvel does it right, where it's just like one after credit scene.
Maybe 2 or 3. Other thing that I really did enjoy about this movie is we got to see a lot more of the characters that
thank God.
Like Flash, Barry Allen's like life, and then Victor as well too. But I also appreciated the fact that Diana got to be a baddie, right?
Yes,
got to be the baddest baddie, and that's what I really needed. I was just like, yes, girl, you go do your thing. Appreciate that.
Yes.
One thing I also will say about some of the backstories, there was so much angst with Cyborg. I'm just like,
yes,
but like the emo-ness needs to be please.
I didn't realize it until like the second time that I was watching it, but I noticed that they were playing Wisconsin when like during Cyborg scene when they were during that football game they were playing Wisconsin. So I'm just like, that's so random. Like, why Wisconsin? Like, you could have made up another school and it would have been fine. But like, you literally
isn't the ideology behind Gotham City is that it's like New York, right? Is that supposed to be? So like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just didn't make too much sense that they were playing Wisconsin. Because then, like, Wisconsin is in a Power 5 conference. I know this is getting really meta about one thing here. But, like, it just made me, I was just like, okay, so, like, is Gotham College or Gotham City University in a Power 5? Like, what's going on here? Like, are they going to compete for the national championship anytime soon?
Like, that is way over my head.
That's way over my head, dog.
But something else I noticed the second time around was that the scoreboard was made by Wayne Enterprises. So I thought that was a nice little detail on that Wayne was part of the making the stadium, or at least the scoreboard.
He's like everywhere, right?
I know, right?
I mean, he mentions it like multiple times in the movie.
His superpower is that he's rich.
Yeah, what's your superpower? I'm rich. You know, like
I didn't like that line. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's kind of corny.
Batman. When I rewatched the movie, I realized how useless Batman was. Like, literally, his one job was connecting everybody together. It's an important thing because without that, like, they don't have the Justice League. But like, literally, that's it. Like, if like they could have succeeded after getting formed together. Like, they could be like, okay, cool, we're a squad now. We have superpowers by Batman, and like they would have been fine.
Absolutely. Okay, so anybody else? Marquise, did you see the theatrical version of this?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So, thinking back to that one and thinking about the interactions between Diana and Bruce in this one, was I the only one getting the impression that we should like leave them alone? Like, that's why I don't know what was happening here, but somebody explode them.
Yeah,
I'm ready to move on after Steve because it's time. It's been time. Okay.
Wasn't there a scene in the original cut where Flash like gropes Wonder Woman?
He was rescuing her from something that was falling, and when he like pushed her out of the way, he tripped and landed on top of her.
Oh,
yeah. So.
Yeah. So I heard someone said it was like an awkward scene to shoot or whatever. It just felt like unnecessary. But it was like a part that Joss Whedon wanted in, so he added it in. I was like, that's a weird scene. Like, if this is part of this group, but that's a weird scene to add in when the movie's like already been done. But yeah, so I definitely picked up that vibe. Also, I felt like Batman was kind of like the dad of the Justice League, and Diana was a mom. That's kind of like the vibe they gave off. Of like, we gotta go find our kids and like put them together, you know, make it all a big family so we can, you know, save Earth. The vibe was a little weird, but okay. First of all, because Andy, I know this kind of got you too, but Schae, I'm curious. What did you think about the intro? This 10-minute long intro where almost not a single word is said, and it's just like really long and drawn out.
I trying to remember what happened in the intro. I don't know. I kind of liked it. right? I enjoyed it because, let me see if I actually remember. It was going back to when Superman died, right?
Yes. They're just replaying all that.
Yeah.
I liked it because it was a little bit of a refresh. And also, too, you have to remember, like, people watch movies even if they're not a part of the fandom, just want to be a part of the hype. Or on cable, it's on TV, it's accessible to them. And you want to make sure that you're bringing fans into the universe. So if you have a bit of an explanation of like where something left off, it might be easier for somebody to be like, oh, I could really kind of get into this because I understand the point of reference. That it, I don't know. I appreciated that. So
yeah, no, I agree with you there because like I think for somebody like for both of us, for me at least, like because I haven't seen so many of the other movies, like I think it helped set the stage as to when the movie, like what, like when you jump in and you see Superman's dead, you're like, oh crap, like this is for real, like this is a really serious thing that's going on here. So I think that like when I watched it the second time and I saw that like drawn out, no dialogue intro, I was like, oh wow, like this is like a really dark time, which is what DC is really trying to go for. Is like they really set the stage. Like this is a dark movie from the get-go. That like we're taking off right after Superman dies, and like the world is kind of in a bad place right now because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like it felt like it had more heart, it had more intention. Like we had an emotional connection to it from the beginning. Because looking at the theatrical version, it begins with kids recording Superman after some incident. And I'm just like, I was so confused, right? I'm like, okay, interesting take. And then it kind of moved into Batman, like, attacking some guy to get his fare. Like, somebody who had robbed a place and ended up on a rooftop, and Batman was just like, I'm Batman, doing his Batman. And used that to, like, lure one of the demon things, right? And I was just like, this is a weird way to kind of set it up. Like, I don't know, I didn't enjoy that compared to, you know, the Snyder's Cut version where you really felt the impact of the loss. You really felt that we should feel as empty as the universe. They've lost their, like, Superman, right?
Yeah.
It definitely sets it up.
There's I like to throw fun facts in here whenever I can. And so fun fact number one is that, the time, I don't remember the specific timestamp, but it was like 2 hours, 38 minutes, something seconds in, what was it, Batman v Superman when Superman died?
I have no idea.
Whichever one that Superman died in, like he died 2 hours, 38 minutes and something seconds into the movie. And the Zack Snyder's cut, it was the same exact timestamp that Superman got revived in. So it was, I think that was pretty cool in terms of continuity. That like, and sort of like a small detail that like when Superman died in the other movie, that like revived him at the same exact time in this cut. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about when he came back, because that was,
oh my goodness,
hilarious as heck. Okay.
Yes, that's one of my favorite scenes.
I know, it's really cool.
I think the 2 points in that I just like lost it was when he, like, Diana wraps the lasso of truth around him, trying to pull him, and he's like, nah, and he's Aquaman is just like, I'm gonna come in and help, and he's like, nope. And then I think it was Cyborg as well, like pushing his chest, and he's not moving. I'm not
budging. Like Superman is just a god.
My favorite, like talking about this, like my favorite part was when like Flash is like, "Oh, help!" as he's like running past.
That's the funniest scene.
And like Superman's just like, "That's cute," and like just knocks him out.
Absolutely. And then the other one that really got me in that fight scene was when Diana was like, "Please don't make me do this," and she's like, exert the power from the wristband things that she has, and he just grabs her head into like oblivion. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Like it just shows you how, which I like too, is because like they focus so much on how much they need him, so obviously he needs to be so much more powerful than him. And so I love how like we really need him to win, and then they bring him back and then he's on the opposite side, and like that's how much fear it should instill in you. Like, wait a minute, this person who's so
was this a mistake?
Who's so almighty powerful that they needed to bring back is now about to kill them. And so Yeah, you just get that fear. And yeah, when the Flash is running past him and like at hyper speed and you just see Superman slowly turn his face to look at him, you're like, what? Like, oh no.
Here's Johnny. Here's Superman.
Let's also talk about the slow-mo, right? Because I will say this. Snidey, he's got style. He's got flair. I liked it. However, question, do you think the movie would have been a lot shorter if we didn't have as much slow-mo? Because it feels like the whole movie was in slow-mo at times.
At least 30 minutes a time was like, it could have been taken away.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think slow-mo definitely serves a purpose, but that's true to Zack Snyder movies, though. I mean, if you watch, like, 300's the one that I always go to because that's the first one I think of. I know he's made some other ones, but, like, slow-mo was such a huge part in 300 that, like, it's almost like if you see a Zack Snyder movie, like, you already know, okay, there's going to be at least 45 minutes of slow motion by itself. Like, and this movie, probably about 2.5 hours of slow-mo.
Yeah. Speaking about the slow-mo, I think the scene that really stood out to me was when we got that introduction to Barry. When he was
yes, that was a beautiful scene. I will say that, to me, that was
unnecessary.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was
unnecessary.
I did. I personally thought it was enough. I thought it was too much.
Dang, okay, Marquise coming in here with the hot takes. I thought that was like, yes, there are certain times where there are unnecessary slow-mo, but I felt like you really, because Flash doesn't have, like, does Flash have a standalone movie? No, right?
No.
I know he has a TV show. He has a TV show, but isn't it a different actor too?
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, so, like, we have no real idea of the Flash, and if you don't watch the TV show, you don't really know him that well. So, like, with that scene, you really got to see the Flash's powers and stuff like that, and, like, how he operates, and how, like, really everything looks super graceful. And from his perspective, it looks super graceful. And so I thought that was such a beautiful scene and how they did it. But Marquise is like, nope, it's trash.
I just thought it felt cheesy. I just thought it felt like, once again, this movie was giving off a very dark vibe, and you could definitely do comedic relief in dark movies, and he was obviously that.
Yeah, that's literally his one role.
Yeah, that's his main role. But, like, I just felt like I don't know, I just felt like every time I see him, it's just like I'm supposed to almost be laughing, except for maybe a few scenes. And I just felt like the whole introduction just was such a stark contrast to the rest of it, where, like, he comes back after having saved her, he's back in there in, like, the pen with the dogs, and, like, they're, like, eating weenies out of his pocket, and he's like, yeah, like, and it's just like, I don't know, to me, it doesn't tell me a lot about the Flash. All right, he's a good guy who would save somebody who's in danger. Okay, cool. And he's fast, which is what we can expect. Like, I don't know, like, to compare to the original you get from the intro you get from the Flash, I didn't feel like this one necessarily, like, added anything special for his character. That was my only thing. But
that's fair. I almost feel like it's the exact opposite. Like that, his intro scene is basically the perfect example of how he's going to be the entire movie, because the reason he's at that pet store is because he's trying to get a job, and he's just, like, basically, like, unironically cracking jokes, but, like, to us it's funny. To him, he's, like, having, like, a really bad interview experience because, like, first he can't find his resume, and then his resume's all crumbled up, and, like, he's late, of course, which is also kind of ironic that he's late to an interview and he's the fastest man on earth. Like, how does that happen? So, like, and then you see, like, where it gets really serious when there's actual danger. Like, he's, like, able to stop joking for a second to go like, stop what he's doing, save somebody who's about to die, come back, and then also, like, by the way, here's a hot dog, let's meet. And so, like, I think that scene is a great example of, like, how his character is going to be throughout the entire movie.
Absolutely. And let's also talk about the casting. Like, Ezra Miller, I know I appreciated his casting as the Flash, because I feel like that's the energy, right?
Yeah.
That's Flash energy. I really did appreciate that. I think overall, in this extended version of it, it felt like the casting actually fit. Because the first time I did not feel that. Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel the chemistry between the characters and the actors who were playing the characters, because everything just felt so rushed in the theatrical version. This version, I really felt like the casting just like fit perfectly, and also with Cyborg's character, the actor who plays him, we got to see a lot more of what he could do. I really appreciate that, and him getting his opportunity to like make his mark, because I think he's not really been in a lot of movies. This is
he's basically
he got
Teen
so
Titans,
much more screen time in this movie. So much more screen time.
And it was well deserved, I think.
It's funny that you mentioned casting, because like I totally agree with you that like for the most part like the casting was really great. But like when I was watching Marqueze, when I was watching this movie with Marqueze, Jesus,
so you watching me, Andy? You have a talk.
Sometimes it feels like somebody's watching me. Anyway, now we're gonna get copyright claimed. But anyway, it's funny because when I was watching this movie with Marqueze, I was just like, why didn't they just get Justin Long to be the Flash? Because that's basically
that kind of would have worked.
Like that's like this dude really reminded me of Justin Long. He like looks like him. He talks like him. He literally sounds like him. I'm just like, why don't you just get him? Like that was my only thing. But like that being said, like I agree that the casting was really good too for this one.
Also, how old is Barry Allen supposed to be? Is that
they definitely play him off as like a late teen.
Yeah. Well, he's in college, right? Because if he's getting a degree in whatever the heck it is. What is it? Immunology?
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be entering college because I think that he's trying to go into Crim J. Okay. I think that's like his focus. I'm trying to do a quick Google to see if I can find out how old he is, but I can't find anything super quick.
Yeah, he's definitely the kid on the team. Like they treat him like the kid. So, while you're looking that up, so Schae, another thing I noticed,
27.
He's supposed to be 27. He's supposed to be 27.
Oh wait, no, JK. From what I see, it says since we're in season 3, Barry. I guess this is for the Flash TV show. For the TV show, he's supposed to be 27.
Yeah, and the TV show. Okay, see, I was gonna say that's my problem. Is like in a TV show, he acts more
or 28.
Adult. He doesn't act like a child in a TV show, and so I got used to the TV show Flash. Where I'm seeing this one is him just constantly joking around, and so I wasn't as much of a fan. I do like the more not like adult, but just like he's not the joke of the team. Flash.
Listen, they gotta get like a Peter Parker on here. That's
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what it seemed like they were trying to do. But
that's literally, as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, okay, so like superheroes, Superman's supposed to be Captain America, like Batman is Iron Man, like that's just basically how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, they're just doing their version. But yeah, so SteppenWolf. One thing I noticed about him was that they made him feel a lot darker to me. Oh. Like a whole lot.
Awesome.
Like the armor they gave him gave off this very powerful feel. So like the armor in this one compared to the theatrical version is gnarly. So there's
also too, he got really swole in the cut. I was just like,
oh. he was big, and like this rated R version allowed for more violence, and so you see it in the scene where he's chasing down the cube from the Amazonians. And he is just slaughtering.
Yeah,
like this is graphic. Like he is slaughtering people. And I was like,
it feels. I'll give it this. Like I don't remember any superhero movie off the top of my head. I can't think of any of them that actually shows blood. And like in this movie, like blood was all over the place.
Yeah. Because in the theatrical version, they cut away so quickly. Like you understand what's happening, but I want to see the gore. Like I know that sounds like really morbid to say, but like I don't know this whole experience to show it.
Yeah. Did you notice that whenever Steppenwolf is fighting the Justice League, like he has his armor up, but whenever he's talking to Darkseid, like he kind of like he retracts his armor, like almost in like submission. He's like, "Oh, like you're my superior here. Yeah. You're my superior. Like I'm going to retract my armor." But like to everybody else, he does it. He doesn't retract his armor, and he doesn't retract his armor again until the very end of the movie when he's getting his butt kicked by the rest of the Justice League, and when Superman's about to like put him into submission, basically, you could see him retract his armor again as he's getting basically pinned, quote unquote, by the Justice League.
I will also say this, like SteppenWolf just annoyed me because he reminded me of a middle child who just wanted validation from like their dad. I'm like, get over it.
I can see it.
That's pretty accurate.
He's like, I have to get 50,000 more planets. Oh. Gosh, can't you just love me now?
And it's weird. Well, like one thing is that like in the theatrical version, they didn't even have Darkseid. They just had him mentioned by SteppenWolf. Whereas in this version, I think it's really cool to put a bigger, badder guy above the bad guy. You know, because actually the fact that there's pressure on the bad guy to perform is like, oh, he's going to give his all because he needs to do this in order to save his life.
Yeah. It was really wild just watching, like, he's like, every time he checks in with his superiors, they're like, that's cool and all, but do you have the three, do you have the 3 motherboards? Like, do you have the three cubes? And he's like, no, I'm working on it, but like, I'm just letting you know. And he's like, well, come back to me when you have all 3. It seems like a real toxic work environment. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, part of me feels really bad for SteppenWolf. Like, yeah, like he's doing a really terrible thing, but like, he's not getting any support from Darkseid. Like, Darkseid's like, nah, you don't matter until you get all 3 of the cubes.
He's like, I'm gonna go work for Thanos.
The disrespect when he dies, and he's the middleman. What was his name?
Oh, what was his name?
Is it Queen?
Vocal?
No,
that wasn't Vocal. That's the
I don't know. It also began with. I think it also began with D. But anyway, he was just like, "I told you he couldn't do it." I was like, wow.
Like first you like stomped his head, and now you're like, "Well, I told you he sucked."
Oh, in life and death, not even respected.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So, I mean, this was like one of the most talked about parts when this movie came out.
Okay.
So, what did y'all think of the epilogue? You know, specifically, what y'all think of the Joker? The Joker.
Joker. You know what? When I first watched, it's funny. When I first watched it with you, I absolutely hated it. Like, I hated Jared Leto's Joker. But when I watched it again, I was just like, you know what? Like, I think it's actually kind of cool. Like, I think he does. Like, I think that his Joker oddly fits in with the movie. Like, he does it dark enough to where it kind of messes with the theme, but like meshes well with the theme. But like, he also has like his own flair to it. I like that they bring in the truce card, because that's very true to the comics, that like there's like some sort of card that's like used to like make sure that like the Joker doesn't go too far and keeps him check and balance. So I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely after watching it again, I was just like, yeah, this is actually I think that particular scene was really good. I just felt like it was drawn out way too long.
It was funny. It was funny when Batman was like, and I will kill you.
Joker's like, no, you won't. Like, you won't kill me. Like, I don't believe you. You need me. You need me.
I don't know. I think for me, it was the laugh. I just couldn't get into the laugh.
Yeah, I agree.
So that clouded my whole perception of Jokers. I'm just like, this is not it. But I don't know. I feel pretty indifferent. I don't have a preference. And that's the thing. I feel like I'm the worst person to come on this podcast, because I'm just like, I really don't vibe with DC. So I don't care that much about Joker specifically. So I'm pretty indifferent on him.
I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, this is going to spark a debate, or potentially, but like, it's hard because you just like, who else would do it? Because I don't think Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, like, I don't think his role would mesh at all. Like, I think that would be really weird. And obviously, like, obviously Heath Ledger can't do it. And R.I.P. Heath. So it's just like, I don't know. Like, yes, Jared Leto's was kind of weird at times, but it's like, I don't know who you could have gotten to do it, you know?
Okay, so also, is his performance in the epilogue scene the same as how he portrayed Joker in Suicide Squad?
I would say yes. There's no there's no difference in me feeling like they're a different Joker by any means. I feel like it's the same Joker, though. What I liked more about the Justice League version instead of Suicide Squad is that this one came off even darker.
Yeah,
like he comes off just kind of crazy and maniacal, and in Suicide Squad, and like I would just do a lot of things, but this time he just has like blood everywhere. Yeah, and like
he's got the police badges all over his vest.
Like it's just like it. at first it just seemed like he was like really acting out in Snyder Cut, whereas in this one you're like, oh, this is an actual madman who was out here killing people, and like you just get I don't know, I got a much more darker feel from him, especially just seeing all the blood around him. It made him seem like less of a joke, whereas I could see how a lot of people thought he was just a joke in the Snyder Cut because he's almost like overacting. A film friend of mine told me that his problem with the Suicide Squad Joker was that he acted like someone who's more of a fan of the Joker than a Joker himself. Like he was like a fan of the Joker, would get ha 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 tattooed on his hand, but like the Joker himself probably wouldn't do something like that. I was like, oh, interesting.
Okay, yeah. Jared Leto, from what I found out, is the only actor to have played the role of the Joker in live action films, like in more than one live action film. Like any other Joker, like outside of like the animated series of Jokers where they have like the same voice actor doing it, like Jared Leto is the only actor to do it in a live action film, to do it twice.
Yeah. And I think you all touched on this in your Joker pod, but how many...
If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out.
How many actors have played the Joker? How many iterations of the Joker have there been?
There's been a lot. If you're including if you want to include cartoons, there's actually been a lot. But if we're just talking about like live action theatrical, you've got Heath, you've got Joaquin, you've got Jared Leto, you've got Jack Nicholson. Those are the four.
Those are the four that are coming to mind immediately.
Yeah. I was about to say a wrong
answer,
so I'm glad I didn't say that out loud. I was about to be like, what was it, Jim Curry? But he did Riddler. I thought
you were going to say Danny DeVito. I was like, that was the Penguin.
That would have been hilarious, though. Can you imagine Danny DeVito as the Joker? I'm the trash man!
It's like, how?
Yeah.
At the time, you were like, yes.
Like, that'd be so wild if Danny DeVito, please, if you're listening to this, please play the Joker in the next film. I'd freaking die. It'd be amazing.
That'd be so
How did you all feel about, this is also very kind of brief, how did you all feel about Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor?
I'm kind of used to it now. So the Batman vs Superman, I wasn't a huge fan. But in this movie, I wasn't necessarily a huge fan either. I just kind of accepted it, and the fact that he didn't, the fact that like he doesn't have a lot of screen on time, it doesn't bother me. Like it's like okay, he's in it for like a couple minutes, like whatever. I liked his scene in this one more than the last one, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just so used to Jesse Eisenberg playing other characters that he would have to like really sell me on some villain, type thing, but. I don't know. He hasn't sold me on it yet, so I'm not.
Didn't he play a different? Not in like recent movies, but there was another movie that he was in that he played a different hero / villain. I don't remember which movie it was, but I know that he played. It could have also been a Marvel movie, honestly. But like, he played another like person in a superhero universe. Yeah, I'm gonna Google that while we all are talking about this.
Yeah, but we should get to what we think how the script should continue because I'm
Marqueze, why don't you get us started here? Do you have an idea of how this movie can continue?
So not really.
Oh, okay. This movie podcast over. Thanks for coming, everyone.
No, but like with that being said, just kind of thinking about in general. I'm expecting a new, bigger threat, right? And then this apocalyptic scene that you see in the epilogue, it hints that I think Lois Lane has died, and Joker's like, it's your fault. It's because of you. You did this, And so I'm wondering if there's going to be a Batman versus Superman 2 thing where Lois Lane is dead now because of Batman, and Superman takes that on a Batman and tries to destroy him. And I could see Joker being the one instigating it back and forth. So Joker's the one trying to like keep hyping up and instigating this fight, and Batman being like, no, we got to work together, and Superman being like, screw you, you killed Lois. And like I don't know, something of that sort. Or if not that way, I love Joker as a villain. Like I just love it as whether Heath Ledger does it, whether Jared Leto does it, doesn't really matter. I love just Joker as a villain. So I would love for Joker to be the main villain in the next Justice League. The only issue with that is that because the Justice League is full of such powerful people, like a group of them, it feels that there has to be a big major threat like SteppenWolf, something that's trying to overtake the world, instead of Joker, who is just trying to, turn Gotham upside down. And so I feel like the Justice League might be too powerful for Joker to be the villain. But if they could find a way to like really, really make Joker, whatever he's doing, so absolutely terrifying that you actually need the full Justice League to stop it, I would love that.
Is there like a supervillain like equivalent to the Justice League in the DC universe? Because there's a whole lot of supervillains.
I'm trying to think if there's another Thanos, mainly. I mean, Steppenwolf. I felt like when they were doing Steppenwolf, there were certain things he said and did. I was like, oh, they're trying to make him like Thanos in terms of like.
I think Darkseid is more. I think Darkseid is similar to Thanos than Spider-Wolf. Steppenwolf. Sorry.
I disagree solely because I feel like Steppenwolf feels like he has a like. But the thing with Thanos is like he was called, he had a purpose, he had something that he was responsible to. And with Steppenwolf, you get that same thing. He's responsible to his father or whatever that thing is to like get these planets. Whereas Darkseid is, I don't know, you don't see like a rush on him. I feel
Darkseid, if I like how Snyder Cut set it up, is he's trying to find the anti-life equation, right?
Yeah.
He first came to Earth and he didn't know it was Earth, and everybody was like, "We're gonna fight you," and they teamed up. They picked him off, and the mother boxes got left. He was trying to find it, so I think that was the purpose that was given to Steppenwolf, because he did where he betrayed. This was his atonement, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that makes Darkseid more attuned to Thanos.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I don't think here's why, like, to me, Steppenwolf can never be the Thanos equivalent. Like, Thanos reported to nobody. Like, Thanos was like the head honcho for the bad guys. Like, Steppenwolf responded to Darkseid. Like it just doesn't make sense to me that like Thanos wouldn't be Thanos if he reported to somebody else.
That's
true. Like you can't be the big baddie and then also report to another big baddie. Like you are just a pawn in the mix.
If we're equating it to like Marvel, in my eyes, Steppenwolf would probably be like the bad version of Nebula.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's fair. I guess really it's just like the vibe he gives off a lot too. Like when Thanos came onto like Earth or whatever, whenever he was about to fight the Avengers, he always came with such a calm to him. Like, I'm gonna destroy all of you. This isn't gonna be a fight.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Not a problem. And like when Steppenwolf first like landed and was about to fight the Amazonians, he had that same vibe to him.
He was chill. He's like, you all are gonna try to fight me? That's cool.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna kill you all.
Exactly. He was like, your attempts are futile. I don't know why you're even trying. And then he just goes on to slaughter rampage.
That's fair. I'm still sticking with that. Like, you can't be the ultimate big baddie if you report to another one.
That is fair. That's the point.
I agree with that.
Yeah. To me, when I think of what happens next, and so for those of you who have not seen Zack Snyder's cut, like the ending is basically Justice League was successful. They stopped the 3 mother boxes from synergizing. They were able to split it up. They killed Steppenwolf. And then Darkseid stomps on, kind of finishes the job up. To me, when I think of the next Justice League, I think of the line that Darkseid says, like, they're like, what's going to happen next? And then Darkseid's, well, we're going to have to do it the old way, or something like that, like something along that line, where he's like, we're just going to have to do it the old way. So I think Darkseid finds his way back to Earth, and he leads the army of parademons, like himself, to try to find anti-life. Well, also, I don't know. They destroyed the mother boxes, so I guess the mother boxes are no longer a thing. But maybe he tries to find a way to fix them. Like, that's his job, is to try to fix them and then synergizes him. Or he finds his own way once he gets to Earth to find anti-life and destroy Earth.
Okay, I can see that. Schae, you got anything?
I don't have anything different. I just agree with.
Okay.
I agree with Andy because I'm just like, I don't think Joker on his own could.
Yeah.
No. Superman could literally just shoot a laser beam from his eyes and kill Joker right there.
I just feel Superman's too powerful, even with Steppenwolf. Like, it's like once Superman came into the scene, it was just like, okay, it's over. Like there was just nothing he can do.
What I think Darkseid does, and I think they alluded to this a couple of times throughout the movie. I think the way Darkseid takes over the world, I think he I don't know if brainwashes the right word, but maybe puts Superman into a trance.
Mm-hmm.
And converts Superman to his side, because if you remember in the epilogue, as Batman, Joker, all of them are all talking, it ends when you see Superman show up and he's they're about to get into this huge fight. Mm-hmm. So I think that in the next Justice League, Darkseid comes over and he somehow he does something to make Superman on his side, and so the movie is them trying to stop Superman while trying to save the world, while trying to stop Darkseid, and then I think Martian Manhunter, you're going to see more of him in the second one, because he had a couple of pivotal scenes in the Snyder cut where he was trying to get Lois involved and getting Superman back, and then at the end of the movie he's there with Batman and stuff like that. So I think Manhunter is going to be more of a thing in the second one.
So I have 2 points, right?
Okay.
One is the scene after Martian Manhunter pretended to be Martha and visited Lois. She was like, my depression is cured. I'm going back to work today. And she opened the drawer, and in there was a pregnancy test.
Yes. And there was also a baby basket. I don't know if you noticed it when they were moving into the house.
Right. And then Bruce was like, congratulations,
yes.
Clark, right? So how do you think that factors in? Do you think it has the alluded death of Lois has something to do with the baby, or how does that play any role in what happens?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think her death, I think losing Lois, I think that I'm going to expand my theory. I'm actually really glad you mentioned that. I think maybe there's some sort of fight between Darkseid and the Justice League, and it results in Lois dying. And so maybe that's how Darkseid is able to convince Superman to join his side, because Darkseid's Lois Lane died because of the Justice League. Lois would have been fine if the Justice League didn't intervene or anything. And so to me, that could be a tool that Darkseid uses to get Darkseid to get Superman onto his side.
Yeah. What was the other point? Because not the final, but when we get introduced to the Joker and we see the apocalyptic world, right?
Yes.
That was a dream.
Well, right? Was it a dream
or a vision?
It could be a vision. And also they talked a lot about multiverses. So what we saw could have just been in an alternate universe.
Yeah, I mean,
where Superman actually was on Superman never got saved by Lois Lane. Lois Lane never to me, what we saw could have been an alternate universe where Lois Lane doesn't get Superman back, because Superman, when he got revived, he was trying to kill the Justice League, and so that alternate universe that we were seeing could have been just Superman not helping the Justice League, and maybe SteppenWolf succeeded in this multiverse, or maybe this has already happened and we're seeing sort of we're seeing what the future looks like, or we're just seeing this alternate universe where Superman's on the other side.
All right. Sorry.
The one thing I was trying to find something, because I was taking notes while I was watching the movie, and one line that they said was when they were trying to resurrect Superman was, the future has taken root in the present. So I don't know. I found that was just such an interesting, thing, line to be said.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I remember correctly, the epilogue is like supposed to be like the nightmare vision, and that's what Cyborg has. So when he like is grabbing the box, like when Cyborg is grabbing the box, and all of a sudden he's like, wait, no, don't do it. It's like he's having this vision, and he sees how everything's gonna end up, and it's gonna end up with the world burned, Superman evil or whatever. And so it's supposed to, like, I believe we're supposed to think that that's going to be that's actually going to be the future, that's what's supposed to happen. And so it's just a vision of what's supposed to happen. I don't know if it's supposed to be an alternate universe or whatever, but that's why Cyborg is like, as soon as he's grabbing onto the mother box or whatever, and then he's like, oh, wait, no. And then the Flash does it and Superman's back.
Interesting. I like it. Before we transition to ratings, we've only had Susan on as like an official guest. We've had JB last time, but I'm just kind of curious for Schae. I try to think of questions to ask our guest. I'm going to stick with the one I asked Susan. So if you could be in any universe as like a regular character, not like as the main character, just like in a universe, like what movie / universe would you be in?
Oh, I would obviously be in Marvel.
There you go.
What if a specific movie? Probably Endgame.
Okay.
Either Endgame and they're closely related to each other. Endgame or WandaVision, because I just finished that series.
I haven't watched WandaVision. Is it good? Is it really good?
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I had to give it a second chance, because the first time I watched it, I didn't understand it. But if you have seen it, another thing with WandaVision, like you need to have watched the Marvel series. Like, watched it. Like,
but I feel it holds your hand through it if you haven't seen it.
Maybe I'll have to ask my sister. My sister asked me one time if she should watch it, and I was just like, I don't know, because you might miss certain things if you don't watch it. So like, I'll have her watch it, and then she'll tell me if she understood it or not. But there's definitely a lot of references to a lot of the Marvel movies, like not just like the most recent ones, but like even like the earlier ones. Like there's a lot of references to them. So like, I think it was really good. And I didn't realize it was just a mini series. Like I didn't realize it was just gonna be the one season and it's over. Like I thought it was gonna be like a full on thing.
Yeah, well, it's setting up Doctor Strange too, right?
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
I just want to be someone in the background. I want in my head tell me what's up.
I'm surprised that you'd want to be in WandaVision though, because of just like the type of like. I'm not going to spoil. I'm going to try not to spoil it, but like how it is, like the people, like why they're there and stuff like that. So it's like that's interesting. That's interesting. I like it though. That's very cool. Very cool.
And why I said Endgame as well too is like I didn't want to have to go through all the trauma of
I know, right?
and all that type of stuff. I just want people to come back. If I got snapped away, I would want to like tell people, sell a book about like my time in the void.
Apparently, you know how Facebook likes to remind you of like your previous statuses. Like, apparently, like. Was it 3-4 years ago when Infinity Wars came out? Like I saw Infinity Wars today, and like it just made me reflect back to that like the end of the movie after Thanos snaps his fingers, and like just like how quiet the theater was when the movie was over. Like I'm getting chills thinking about it. Like I'm literally like I'm getting goosebumps here, just like literally thinking about like how quiet that movie theater was at the end of that movie, and like everyone was like, oh dang. We lost. Like it just was like the most chilling experience. It makes me miss movie theaters so much just because like you don't get like I appreciate the convenience of watching these new movies at home, but like so often I'm like, dang, like I wish that I was watching this movie in surround sound. Like I wish that I had my like.
I wish I saw Godzilla vs Kong in a movie theater.
I know, right? I wish I saw this movie in a movie theater, like this specific one, not like the original one, not the original Justice League, but like the Zack Snyder cut. Cool, awesome, thank you. That's really cool. So now we'll transition to the rating scale. So for those of you who this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. We use a rating scale where we look at sizes of popcorns and give them a rating based off of that. So if we give a movie a small, think of it as like 1 to 3, like it was not really that good, not worth the watch. If we give it a medium sized bag, it's like a 4 to 6, like it was good, put it on your watch list, but like it could be towards the bottom. If we give it a large, think of it as like a 7 to 9, like this is really good. This should be towards the top of your list, like this is really good. And if we give it a big bucket, think of it as like 10 out of 10, 10 plus, stop what you're doing, go watch this movie right now. So with that being said, Marqueze, I'm going to pick on Marqueze because I already picked on Schae. Marqueze, what would you give Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League?
So Zack Snyder's cut, and it might only be getting this high of a number just because of comparing it to the theatrical cut. Mm-hmm. But I like longer films. I'm willing to sit there to take the time to divest time and energy in order to get really good background stories and more complex stories. I'm really hoping, in fact, that this like gives movie studios the idea of like, hey, we can actually do stuff like this more often, like release like 4-hour cuts on like streaming services because people don't need to sit in a movie theater and have to go to the bathroom and whatnot. So, right. But yeah, anywho, so all that being said, I'm actually gonna give this a large bucket. Okay. It's actually like a large with some butter. Actually, okay. I think it's pretty good. Just because I love the dark tone of it. All these superhero movies typically give off a pretty light, joking tone. Even though what's going on is like mass destruction, mass murder, mass killings, like all these things, and they almost just kind of give off a very jokey tone. And so, with this movie giving off such a dark tone for such a serious thing that's going on, I really enjoyed, and I kind of hope more superhero movies continue in that route. Of course, there are some, but I just hope more do that. So, yeah, I'm going to give this a large bucket, a large with some butter.
Cool. What about you, Schae?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a huge improvement from the theatrical version. I quite enjoyed it. Obviously, with everything, there were things that were a little bit wonky. That's why I didn't give it a big bucket, but I think if it's worth your time to like really dive into why these characters are the way that they are, what are their motivations for wanting to team up, wanting to save the world, all of these things. So I really did appreciate the opportunity to, as Marquise says, dive a little bit deeper into who they are and understand that. And obviously, I appreciated the darkness to it.
Yes.
Seems weird to say that in the time of COVID. I really did enjoy that because you're able to tap into, movies reflect parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
And getting to like grapple with different things that maybe may not be at the forefront of your mind. I think this movie, on a personal level, really helped me like dig a little bit deeper into myself and appreciate the dark side of myself as well.
There you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm right there along with you both. I think if I were to if I didn't watch it again, I probably would have given it a medium. But I think because I watched it again, I was like actually able to sit through and like kind of deconstruct what was going on. So I agree with everything you all said. I'm going to give this a large as well. I think to me, like my main criticism is just like the 30-minute epilogue. Really, like that would be something I would trim down a little bit, just because like I think that you could have gotten the message across a lot quicker, especially after sitting 3.5 hours. Like you guys sit an extra 30 minutes to an epilogue. Like, okay, like just tell me what I need to know for the next movie. But other than that, I think that this movie, it could seem daunting being 4 hours long, but I think that like I was sucked in right away. Like I haven't, like I said earlier in the podcast, like I haven't seen most of the DC movies, and I, for the most part, understood what was going on, and it was pretty entertaining. So I feel comfortable giving this a large as well.
Yeah, and it makes you want to see more because it makes you hopeful that maybe DC is getting their stuff together.
I know, right? Got it. You know what? That's what I thought with the first Wonder Woman. And then they hit us with 1984, and I was just like, ooh, maybe not.
We don't talk about it.
I mean, you know who we just need to have direct the next Justice League? We already know who.
Don't say it.
Ari Aster.
Marqueze
We are
is like,
huge Ari Aster fans on the Poppin Predictions podcast.
you know what? You know what I also really kind of appreciated about this movie is that, like, you know how Marvel movies are typically more lighthearted, like more like on like the good side of superheroes. Like, I think with this movie, like, when I think of like the different types of superhero stuff, like not just like Marvel, DC, but just like stuff that's made of superheroes, like this is like right in the middle between Marvel and The Boys. I'm not sure if anyone has seen The Boys.
The Boys is great.
But
highly
like
recommend.
this is like kind of like a perfect medium where like it's still within like the superheroes are saving a day. They're actually good people, but like there's like dark sides to it, and so the characters have a little bit more depth to them, and they're not just like the lighthearted, like we're just here to make sure everyone's happy. Like they have some demons too, but like with The Boys, like you definitely get that like there's more to being a superhero than what we see. So like this is like kind of like a perfect in between like a Marvel and The Boys.
Yeah.
If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, like I highly recommend The Boys.
Highly recommend The Boys.
If you, it's awesome.
Season 2 is even better too. I really
yes.
Season 2, the finale episode. Listen, I'm ready.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh boy, cool. Yeah. So that being said, what did you all think of our continuation of the Snyder Cut? Did you agree with us? Please let us know on Twitter at PoppinPredict and on Instagram at PoppinPredictions.pod to let us know your thoughts on how you think this movie should continue. Until next time, keep popping, everyone.
Peace out.
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 Everyone.